The Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization, is one of the world's oldest and most fascinating ancient cultures, spanning from around 7000 BCE to 1300 BCE. It developed along the fertile plains of the Indus River and its tributaries. The civilization went through several stages of evolution, beginning with small farming villages and ending with the complex urban centers before eventually declining. Historians generally divide its history into four main phases: the Pre-Harappan, Early Harappan, Mature Harappan, and Late Harappan phase. Each phase represents a different level of development in technology, society, and urban life. The story begins in the pre Harappan period when the first evidence of settled life appears in the region, such as Mehrgarh, located in the modern day Balochistan, Pakistan. Around 7000 BCE, people started to cultivate crops like barley and wheat and domesticate animals such as cattle, sheep, and goats. This marked a major shift from a nomadic hunter gatherer lifestyle to a more settled agriculture one. Pottery began to appear, initially handmade and later wheel made, which indicates technological progress. Houses were made from mud bricks, and storage areas of grains have been found, showing a growing understanding of food management. Over time, small farming communities grew in size and complexity, laying the foundation for the later urban development. The pre Harappan phase is often called the regionalization era, as a different region developed their own local cultures and tradition while maintaining contact through trade and migration. During the early Harappan phase, the small agricultural village evolved into proto-urban towns. This period marks the beginning of planned settlements, organized streets, and the use of baked bricks in construction. Metal tools made from copper and bronze started to appear, showing the beginning of metallurgy in the region. Trade activities increased both with the Indus region and with the neighboring areas such as the present day Iran and Afghanistan. Pottery became more refined, often decorated with geometric designs and motifs of animals. Towns like Amri, Kot Diji, Kalibangan, and Dholavira emerged as the important centers during this phase. We also see the first sign of administrative control and social organization, evidence of fortification, granaries, and specialized craft production like bead making and pottery workshop. These developments suggest that the people were preparing for a much more advanced phase of urban life that will follow soon after. The mature Harappan phase represents the golden age of the Indus Valley Civilization. This is when urbanization reached its peak and civilization became one of the most advanced of its time. Large, well planned cities such as Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Lothal, Kalibangan, Rakhigari, Dholavira, and Ganerwala developed across a vast area stretched from present day Pakistan to western India. The cities were laid down in grid pattern with straight streets intersecting at right angles. Buildings were made with standardized burnt bricks, and almost every house had access to a sophisticated drainage and water supply system. Public baths, granaries, dockyards, and storage facilities indicate a high level of civic planning and administration. One of the most striking features of this period is the uniformity across such a large area. Standard weights and measures were used, suggesting centralized control or strong cultural unity. The economy was based on agriculture, craft production, and long distance trade. Seals bearing animals' motifs and symbols have been found, which were likely used for trade and identification. The and many people show links with Mesopotamia and other ancient regions. Although the Indus script remains undeciphered, it clearly played a role in communication and administration. This phase is often called as the integration era because all aspects of life, economic, cultural, and social, were well integrated and interconnected through the civilization. After around 1900 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization began to decline. The late Harappan phase shows a gradual breakdown of urban life. Many major cities were abandoned or drastically reduced in size. The once uniform culture started to fragment into regional variation. The use of burnt bricks declined, drainage systems fell out of use, and large public buildings were no longer constructed. Trade network weakened, and contact with the distant lands like Mesopotamia come to an end. Several factors have combined to its decline: change in climate, particularly a shift towards arid conditions, might have affected agriculture and water availability. The changing course of river, especially the drying up of the Ghagra Hakra, often associated with Saraswati River, could have forced people to migrate. Floods, earthquake, or social disruption could also play a role. However, the civilization did not disappear completely. Many cultural practices continued in small rural communities. Pottery style, agriculture techniques, and religious symbols shown continuity with later cultures, suggesting that Harappan legacy lived on even after cities vanished. The Indus Valley Civilization lasted for several millennia and covered an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. It represents one of the humanity's earliest experiments in organized urban life, from the humble beginnings of small farming settlements in the pre-Harappan phase to the magnificent cities of the mature Harappan phase, and finally to the rural communities of the late Harappan phase. The story of this civilization reflects innovation, adaptation, and resilience. Its people mastered town planning, engineering, agriculture, and trade at a time when much of the world was still in early stages of social development. Although many mysteries remain, especially about their language and political structure, the achievement of the Indus Valley Civilization continue to inspire admiration and curiosity. Understanding its different phases helps us appreciate how human societies evolve, flourish, and sometimes decline, leaving behind lessons for future generations.